I am sending you to the Mustafar system in Outer Rim. It is a volcanic planet. You will be safe.
You're with him! You brought him here to kill me!
Welcome. Today we are going to be taking a look at this small little Battle on Mustafar MOC that I've made. Now, this one was a little complicated to make, especially getting the angle there of the tower, as well as these three different little points that come out from the end of the tower, or I guess the bridge, because in the actual scene it comes straight down, or from being horizontal down into the lava and becomes more vertical. Now, if we go ahead and take a closer look at it, I can show you some of the ways that I was able to pull this off and create what I think is a pretty good MOC. Now, I've gone ahead and taken off the two sides and the back of the display part of this MOC, the border. And so if we go ahead and we take a closer look in through some of these sides, then we'll be able to see just how I was able to pull this off and some of the techniques that I used. Now, taking a proper look, we can see that I used mostly these 2x2 transparent orange tiles on the top to smooth it out, and then underneath them I used a mixture of the studs that, if we go ahead and take a slightly closer look at, you can see in there that I've got these yellow, transparent yellow studs and these transparent neon orange studs. Now, if we take a look here, you can sort of see underneath these tiles that yellow studs are making a pattern there, and the trans neon orange studs are making a pattern around any of the tower or bridge, as well as there are some there and there on the corners, and then one right there to make it look a little less symmetrical. Now, the other part of this that is somewhat interesting, or a neat detail that I thought to include, was I didn't want to have the border go all the way around. I wanted to make it feel like it was, you know, not just a two-dimensional image that you're looking at. I wanted to make it seem more three-dimensional, because it is. So, in order to accomplish that, I went ahead and I took these one by one transparent orange cheese slopes and just had them sloping down off of the border there to create this sort of illusion that the lava is coming farther out from the display. Now, if we go ahead and we take a little bit of a closer look into this section, we can see how I accomplished the angle of the bridge and the mandibles coming out of the end. Before I put on the edges of the display, I did want to just point out real quick that the chains here that come up out from the lava are attached down to the bottom, and that simply put, I took a couple of these one by one cheese slopes in transparent orange, and I went ahead and I just put them down into the holes with the chain on both sides to fill that gap that was left by the chain. So those are fairly simple. Simple way to add a little bit of an odd texture there, but also cover up that gap. So now that we've taken a look at that, let's go ahead and put the borders back on and talk a little bit more about this model. Now, some of you may be wondering why underneath the transparent orange plates did I use transparent neon orange studs. While it does give it a little bit more of a texture, if all I was looking for was that texture, I probably should have gone with a transparent red stud underneath those, or should have done just solid colors and not transparent ones. However, the reason why I did that is because in blacklight, transparent neon orange is one of the few Lego colors in my experience that lights up due to a blacklight. The other colors that I've found are transparent neon green, transparent medium blue, and sometimes the transparent light green, also, as well as any of the glow-in-the-dark elements that Lego makes. They get supercharged with the blacklight. Now, in order to make this look really good in a blacklight, we're going to need to change something, because these transparent light blue lightsaber pieces that Anakin and Obi-Wan have here are not going to show up very well in the black light. So we're going to need to take our Ahsoka figure here, because she has two transparent medium blue lightsaber blades. And we're going to go ahead and just swap her lightsaber blades out for Anakin and Obi-Wan's. Now, taking a second while we've got Anakin and Obi-Wan off of the model, we'll go ahead and just spin it around, take a look at it. You'll notice that on each of the different little rings, I used a slightly different technique on each of them, but I think that ultimately it works out well. I tried to have as little studs showing as I could. In fact, these are the only two that are showing, and you can see some more through these great pieces, but ultimately I think that when you have the figures on there, it works out really well. Another slight detail that I put in that you can't really see all too well is if we go ahead and take our light here, you can see that there is a transparent blue or transparent light blue 1x2 underneath that grate there at the top of the tower. Ultimately, you don't really see it all that much when looking at the model, but I thought that it added a neat little detail if someone were to examine this up close. Now, if we take Anakin and Obi-Wan, and we go ahead and we put them back on the model, one thing that I like to have for this is neither of them should have their legs completely straight. So Obi-Wan is actually going to be using the back two studs of his legs, and only really using one of those to connect. So we'll make those slightly more even, and then just lean the one back, and now it's connected onto that stud. And you can see he still gets that little angle of having his foot just slightly raised up as if he were in motion. Now Anakin is relatively easier because we are just using that one anti-stud connection at the bottom of his foot there in a more traditional connection. Now once we have them on there, we can adjust the angle of our characters and the angle of their lightsabers. Now once you've got it all set up the way that you would like to see it, we can go ahead and turn off the lights and turn on the black light to show you guys what that looks like. Alright, now I'm going to try and do the best job that I can showing you this But ultimately it's not turning up too well on the camera. Probably gonna take some still photographs and insert those. But you can see that part of the lava lights up differently than the rest of it, as well as because of those trans medium blue lightsaber blades, the lightsabers also light up in this little display. So I think it's pretty cool what I was able to accomplish. So I'd say that I'm pretty satisfied with how this little model came out, and I hope that you all enjoyed watching this video, seeing my creation. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Don't make me kill you.